the wine and the cherry on top, we've got Jess Allen, who's back from vacation. What's this book all about?
Well, let me tell you, Mel, Amy Schumer's book is full of stories about her life, and she holds very little back. There's the serious stuff. She writes about her father, who has MS, and her struggle to love her own body. And then there's the funny stuff. We get a glimpse into her teenage journal entries, which are hysterical and made me dig out my own journal from back in the day. This book is sometimes funny, sometimes not, which I suspect may have been a surprise for some people.
Okay, so I'm really curious to see what everyone thought of this book. But before we do that, we're going to dive into a little wine, because of course that's what we do. So along with Amy Schumer's book, we were sipping on a Jackson Triggs Proprietor's Selection Chardonnay. It was a dry wine. I love the apple in this. I love the pear in this as well. Where did you enjoy the wine? And if you don't mind, while you answer, just go for a little drink. Cheers.
I enjoyed it while reading in my reading room, also known as my living room, on the couch, wearing my onesie. So yeah, I love reading there. It's super cozy, and
I like your slippers.
Obviously, it's even more cozy when you have, you know, accoutrements, as Tracy would say.
That's right, that's right. Where did you enjoy it, Sim?
You know what, all over the house, and then I forgot to, take a picture of myself, and I was like, oh, I gotta take a picture. So this is the picture I took in my kitchen, but I'd already half drank the bottle of wine, as you can see.
It's just a smidge left.
So that is it. So I enjoyed myself.
That's hilarious.
And then there's a topless photo.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, I guess. Looks topless. Anyway, I'll be over here.
So, I love that you enjoyed it by yourself all over the house. Before we give our reviews, so I want to share a few reviews because a lot of you are reading along with us, which we absolutely love and encourage. So Carolyn tweeted at us, and she actually gave this book a 4.5 out of 5. She said, amazing, incredible insight into her life. Gained such an appreciation for her. #girlcrush. Also, Amy, another Amy, presumably maybe not Amy Schumer, she also wrote to us. She said, quote, I was surprised that it wasn't a typical comedian book. Amy tackled some pretty heavy things that happened in her life. It seemed brave and heartfelt. She also gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So great reviews as well. But now it is time for us to reveal, do we share the sentiment of this book? We're each going to give it a rating out of 5 and then defend it over 20 seconds, all right? So I will go first. I gave this book, for the first time ever, a 5 out of 5 on the social factor. I know, right? Never done that before. All right, and here's why. I love a good, well, she doesn't say it's a memoir, but it kind of is a memoir. If you love Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Lena Dunham, Mindy Kaling, it's along the same lines of comedy. And I wanted to know, where did the funny come from? And it often comes from a place of struggle, and it comes from a place of heartache, which we learn all about. 35 chapters, one for each year of her life, and you learn it takes decades to become an overnight success.
Whoa! Very good.
Okay, I gave this book a 3.85 out of 5 because I couldn't quite get to 4 because 4 for me is excellent. I liked it. I love the honesty. I love the openness. I love to learn about her family and where she came from, but she was almost cathartic. In fact, she was in this, and it got grating to hear that she had body issues and she wasn't sure about this, she wasn't sure about that. It took its toll on me. 3.85 out of 5.
I hear you. That's hilarious, by the way.
I couldn't get to 4.
Okay, I was at 3.5 out of 5, and here's why I like Amy Schumer. I like the fact that she's a woman in comedy. I like the fact that she talks openly about sex. I also like the fact that she openly talks about feeling uncomfortable in social situations. And I feel like the thing that I didn't like were some of the things that Marcy was alluding to. There was a lot of repetition. I also didn't like how she kind of celebrated her father while kind of tearing apart her mother. And I just think you can air your mother's dirty laundry. You can air your own dirty laundry, but not your mother's unless you're going to celebrate her. That's what I'm trying to say.
This is getting interesting. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 as well, and here's why. I enjoyed it, I laughed, I got emotion. I really appreciated how the subject matter varied, so the book never felt dull. But confession time, I had a hard time staying objective when rating it because I think I'm exhausted by the funny female celebrity genre of memoirs. I'm out, unless one of you guys write one. Then I'm back in.
I too gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and here's why. As Jess said, you know, between Tina and Mindy and the other Amy and Lena. This felt very middle of the road for me, but also some of the comedy here felt forced. When she was getting dark, she found humor in sad places, but when it was time to be funny, basically Amy was just saying vagina laugh. And I didn't think that that was working for me anymore.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to put this glass down, actually. As we mentioned off the top, this book wasn't entirely a comedic read. We've all alluded to that, despite the fact that Amy is a well-known comedian. So some of the stories we know were funny, some were really touching, some really emotional, some were actually uncomfortable to read, quite frankly. So one of the stories that really stood out for me was when she was actually describing one of her many she had a one-night stand. And I loved how she was so candid and open and real and raw about her body, about the fact that, guess what? Women do like sex. Newsflash. And she was unapologetic about it. And so when the particular one-night stand story happened, I thought, oh, I hope that there's a girl who's maybe in her 20s wondering, you know, is there anything to be ashamed of? Heck no, embrace it.
Nice.
Embrace it. Yeah. What about you, Sid?
You know, I think I just really liked, she is somebody who has an unconventional body in Hollywood, which is still somewhat ridiculous. It's getting better all the time, but she still is unconventional. And so I love the fact that she talked about the struggles that she's had with her body image and how she's learned to celebrate it. She sees herself as strong and as beautiful, and she is all of those things. I think it's a great message for people to read, just that there's all kinds of bodies out there, and we should celebrate them all.
Yeah. And she loves her.
Speaking of bodies, there's a part in this book where she ends up being a camp counselor at a camp called Camp Anchor. She's 14 years old. She goes there to meet guys. That's why she's there. But she ends up being a counselor to this group of women that are older, and they have physical and mental disabilities. And there's this one part where one of the women is changing into a bathing suit, but she puts it on the wrong way. And so Amy describes how she's got to get this woman out of this bathing suit and turn it around before, you know, they get to the pool. And at the end of it, through this struggle and the warm weather and everything else, at the end of it, she said, you know what? I think I found my people. These are women that don't care about the way they look. These are women that don't care what people think of them. They don't care. They're just living life. And at 14, she learned a quintessential life lesson, and I loved that chapter.
Mine was similar to yours. It was the chapter on her dad. And my favorite type of storytelling is where you can find the funny in the dark and the sad. And as we mentioned, her dad has MS. And this chapter recounts 2 times that her father pooped himself in public. And that is so sad, but she finds the funny in it. And she also mentions that, you know, the first time it happened, she was a teenager, and he told her, don't tell your mom. And she said, in that moment, I grew up 10 years because I realized that my parents were people, sad human people. And, you know, that's all we can do. We have to find the funny in the dark. And that was really quite true.
All right, it is time to reveal our next social chapter selection, Jess.
Certainly. May I have a drum roll, please? Our next social chapter selection is The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina. It's about a young couple who seems to have it all until the night a brutal crime is committed. Did you hear that? There's plenty of deception and more than a few twists and turns. And if you're into thrillers, this book is for you.
There it is. Well, Jess, thank you so much. Thank you. So you revealed our new book. I want to reveal our next wine because along with the couple next door, like, yeah. Hey, we're going to be enjoying a Jackson Triggs Proprietor Selection Cabernet Sauvignon. So grab the book, grab the wine. We'll be chatting about this the week of November 28th. And everyone in our studio audience, guess what? You're going to be going home with a copy of the book today. Yes. And cheers to that. Cheers to that. We'll be right back.